one that should sadden everybody who's listening, who's following us on Facebook as well. Another boat disaster. And for those of us watching on Facebook, we've attempted to chronicle a number of these such incidents, which leads us to the point that it is one too many. On March 27th, 2023, on the Oti River, a canoe carrying 11 people capsized, with 8 of these individuals drowning, with 3 surviving. In that same year, on the 30th of May, on Lake Volta, a passenger boat struck a tree stump and capsized. 18 people were confirmed dead, others missing up till date. We do not know if they've been found. In that same year, Adan Estuary, related capsizing events there, several reported missing. And in that same year, and in fact in that same month, the Adan Estuary again, 2 fishing boats overturned near Adanfua. 7 fishermen were reported missing, and again, no updates as to whether or not they were found since then. Then in June of 2024, in the Dambai area of the Oti River, a service boat capsized on the river. Between 3 and 11 people drowned, while several others were rescued. Then again, October 11, 2025, the Volta Lake, Kete-Krachi, Oti region, a passenger boat capsized again. 15 dead between Okuma and Bovime. 15 dead, 11 of which are children. Overloading and collision with submerged debris. One too many in our short history, because I can bet if we go back in time further than 2023, we will still have incidences of such things happening, and there are questions being asked as to the governing of water transport in the country, amongst many other things. But again, have we learned any lessons from 2023 even? Let's just say 2023 is a starting point. Have we learned any lessons such that lives should not be lost in the manner that we continue to lose them, is one of the big questions we're seeking to have answered. Unfortunately, our attempts to connect with the Maritime Authority, one of the agencies responsible for water transport, has not yielded quite the result. We're still trying. Mubarak Masawood is a Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority to get a bit more in terms of these details. But let me bring in Council again on this particular one and what you make of it. One too many, and perhaps we should not be seated here today having this conversation, because in the past when it's happened, there's been questions asked as to life jackets and whether or not these canoes which transport people on these waters are even safe to start off with.
Unfortunately, in our part of the world, we don't go for every life matters, but in certain areas, every life matters. I am hesitating to answer this question because this might not be the last one to happen.
Which makes it even worse.
Yes,
because seated behind this table, the both of us know that this will not be the last report of an incident like this.
It will not be. You see, in certain jurisdictions, if there is an accident and one person dies, they will do every investigation to make sure and put in structures to make sure it doesn't happen again. But in our part of the world, I think we are maybe immune to death, or the news about death, that maybe we take them lightly. In certain jurisdictions, the people responsible for ensuring that we have safe travel on the lake would have resigned or would have been sacked by now, but it will not happen. You catalog a history of tragedies on the Volta Lake and the Volta River. Those are the ones that maybe the press have captured and you are aware of. There could be others that we are not aware of. Now, you ask the question, the boats, are they fit for purpose? That is one. Number two, do we have life jackets? That is two. Number three, even if there are life jackets, are people trained or educated on the use of life jackets? Or are there periodic checks to see that whether the life jackets are actually worthy to be used on the water body? That is another. Then number four, you see, earlier on somewhere I said it yesterday that before the 2024 election particularly, you saw a lot of our, let me use the word, big men across the length and breadth of this country be on boats, and they just sat in the boats or the canoes without life jackets, and some of them appear so comfortable. So it has given also the optics to the ordinary person who doesn't understand that, oh, even if that big man comes here and he's on our canoe and he doesn't use life jacket, or there's no need for us to get life jacket, what is the hell that I should look for life jacket? I think we have come to a stage where we should say that one death is too many. It's too many. Unfortunately, all the areas along those river, the river Volta and the Lake Volta, I believe that we know that there's a difference between the Volta Lake and the Volta River.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, all the areas around those areas, people go across the lake and the river every day. Go right now and see. There are boats that are fully loaded, that are even overloaded, are still plying. And there's no regulation. Even there is nobody to enforce regulations to be sure that these boats and canoes cannot carry more than this. The data we were presented with yesterday, the GMA has to revise it to say that even their initial figure was wrong. Is it that they don't have personnel along those areas? If they don't have, then there's time for them to recruit personnel to be along the areas. Then the district and the municipal assemblies along the lake and the river, what do? They get the people come to the market every day and take the locally generated funds. But what do they do as far as education and training of the persons? I think it is time now we need to look at those things. And finally, let me push it back to you guys. You see, the news from Sunday night till the whole of yesterday was about this Kete-Krachi boat disaster. After tomorrow is gone, none of you will chase up to find out after the disaster hotness. We are waiting for another disaster, then it becomes a news item. I think that it is time the media also picks this up to say that this is part of our clarion call. We want to ensure that this is done. The same way you jump on Galamsey, jump on something like this too. Let us see some improvement.
Council, the Maritime Authority is responsible for regulating water transport. Shouldn't the reset agenda of the NDC and President Mahama be reaching this area as well, and having some reforms brought to bear in terms of water transport in the country?
Yes. You see, I've always been of the view that we have too many laws and regulations in this country that if we enforce them, we will live happily. And that is why I'm throwing the challenge to you that go take this matter up, the media as well, so that we have a situation where persons who are supposed to enforce the laws are seen to be doing their work. Now, you've asked the question about the reset agenda. Yes, I think it is one of the things that we need to look at. The guy who is managing the Ghana Maritime Authority, Kamaldeen is a very fine gentleman who has been in the field for a while. So I believe that he's aware of what is supposed to be done to make sure that we have safe ways to cross the lake and to cross the river. My problem, however, is the first one is the education and sensitization for communities along the area. Don't be surprised you go back there and start to talk to the people and they attribute the accident to some fetishism or some voodooism somewhere.
Right.
Let us do the right thing. For me, that is the basis. If we are able to get the education and the sensitization across, then we are able to supply the resources. I read somewhere that this is the opportunity for the government to take it up, and which my brother has responded to, that to supply the life jackets, even at reduced rates, to fisher folks along the lake and along the rivers. That way, we will be able to reduce some of these accidents. And I saw that the GMA boss has taken that up, that yes, they are considering something like that. If that is done, we'll reduce some of these accidents. But you see, there could be situations where you supply all these things, but proper use of it is another thing. that is where the education and the sensitization I'm talking about comes in.
Education and sensitization. Council, I want to thank you very much for joining us this morning here on the 3FM Sunrise.
Appreciate it. I'm always at your service.